Right then, Romano has just dropped on a bit of a big one. Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Matheus Cunha. Looks like we are about to get our first signing of the summer. So, quick reaction. Is this a good signing? Yes, it is, right? Cunha is exactly the sort of player that I was hoping United were going to look at. He is aggressive. He is versatile. He can play in a number of different positions. Most importantly, he scores goals. And you all know we need goals in this team. Cunha gives you that. Where does he fit in? Well, the versatility is something that we've spoken about that Ruben Amorim likes a lot. At Wolves, he has played as a striker, and he's played a little bit off the left as well. He does drop into a bit more of a creative and deep role at times when he gets involved and gets on the ball, but he puts the ball in the back of the net no matter what he's doing. Under Ruben Amorim, I would absolutely expect him to feature in that sort of left number 10 position. Perfectly suited to our system for him to come in and do that, linking up with Bruno if he moves back, possibly as a bit of a counterbalance to Ahmad if Ahmad plays in the right side, number 10, or if Ahmad plays as right wing back, which Amorim seems to increasingly like to stick him in, to be honest. But it still doesn't alleviate our need for a striker. And speaking of Bruno, what does that mean for him? Because that's absolutely someone that's taking away a role that he plays. But it also gives us a bit more flexibility as well. You could play Bruno and Cunha and have like a slightly different tactical profile than you would have if you played Ahmad or if you played Mainu. I think Cunha is probably going to play there. I know that we can play the 9. I know he has played the 9. I still think United are going to be massively in the hunt for like an out-and-out specialist number 9. But with Cunha, you actually can rotate Bruno, or you can just drop him back and play him deeper. He's played increasingly into this deeper sort of role, more like a number 6. Now, I don't think he's got necessarily the positional discipline. I don't think he gets on the ball, gets on the turn and moves the ball up the pitch the same way like, a De Jong or somebody would do. He's certainly not a Rodri, but he's kind of effective in that area. I think United still need someone who's like a literal 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" sort of centre mid though, because of just the way football's going. There's no coincidence we look better when Casemiro's in there, because of how good he is in the air. United still absolutely need to get someone that can play there, or is this a precursor to the fact that we are letting him out and letting him go? I think it's still a possibility that Bruno is sold. I don't think it's likely, but I don't think it's an impossible. I wouldn't sit here and say there's no chance United sell Bruno, because I don't believe that. I do think there is a chance. It's probably an outside chance, but it's still a chance, because he isn't perfectly suited. Even though I think he's played well there, I think you can still get a better team if he's not in that area. He's a number 10 or a number 8. He's not a number 10 in this system though. And there are no number 8s in this system. So it's going to be him adapting to wherever he can fit in that role. And we absolutely still need a number 9. Now, Cunha isn't that. He is a goal-scoring sort of off-the-striker kind of cat. He's not a classic centre-forward who's going to be hunting in the box or even a target man, to be honest. But he will chip in with goals. And he'll chip in with plenty of goals. And he'll create loads. And he's got the personality, I think, to carry being a Manchester United player. But we absolutely have to go out and find that ruthless goal machine. No messing about. It can't be our only forward signing this summer. And I've talked about moneyballing it, and not just in terms of like trying to find cheap, undervalued players. I'm talking in terms of what Billy Beam and that literally went out and did was buy runs. They went out and recruited runs. That's the moneyballing I'm talking about. United have gone and done the same thing. They've gone out and bought goals. Players who would directly contribute to goal involvements, and Cunha's goal involvements just obliterate anybody else's in our team. So that's a good thing. He's not flashy. He's not £100 million signing that we've absolutely overpaid for. He's costing a lot of money. It's going to be 60, 65 million sort of range. But he fits the profile. He brings goals, and he's a 60 million from another Premier League team. He's just the going rate at the moment. So I'm pretty happy with that. What we do have to do is still bring in that centre forward. I don't think Osimhen, because of the wages. There is some talk that Gyökeres is going to be leaving. it reeks of him going to Arsenal at the moment. If United, if we do or we don't get Champions League football, I just don't think there's anywhere near enough noise around him and Manchester United for it to feel like it's actually happening. So it's a good start to the window. The job isn't done. I'm very pleased actually that United have still got 2 games left of this season, and it looks like we're wrapping up deals. You saw that interview with Tom Keane, the guy that was in charge of United's recruitment a few years ago, and he's sitting there saying like, yeah, we basically came in and had to sort that window out there and then. This feels different. This feels like United have actually come into the window with at least a little bit of a plan. Now, hopefully that means plans for the ins and the outs, because there's going to be a lot of outs, and because of the financial situation that the club is in, we have to balance the outs and the ins together. They both have to kind of make sense for us. But it's a great start. I think it's a fantastic start for us. So, Cunha, terms agreed. I don't think you enter into the terms agreed without there being more or less the fee agreed with Wolves. Whether that's just, crossing the T's and dotting the I's is all I presume, or maybe they're just waiting to get to the end of the season before they say that that's actually going ahead. But he's a really good signing. He improves the physicality. He's aggressive. And that's what we need. Now, the next one has to be a striker. And then maybe a midfielder, and then maybe a right wing back, and then maybe a goalkeeper. And on the goalkeeper front, I have just recorded a reaction to the Emi Martinez news that came out yesterday, so I'll post that again in a couple of hours. But I thought this is literally just broke, so let's get this out first and foremost. But before I finish, I mentioned on Friday, was it, about what's been happening at Paddock, and the fact that we've just put through and ratified a women's team, and if you want to get involved, come and get involved. And we did. We had quite a few of you become members as well, so welcome to the club, all those who become members. But I thought it's been a really successful season for us. We've had our under-16s have won an under-17s league. They play a year up and play under-17s, and they've won that league. Under-16s, we have 2 teams at under-16s, and they both won a trophy, including the Manchester County Cup, which is a massive trophy. We had our reserves in a final and get promoted. We got promoted with the first team. But it doesn't stop there, because our under-12s also picked up some silverware yesterday. This is the under-12s. Red team, they won at 3 o'clock at Hyde, and then at 6 o'clock at Hyde, we had our under-12 black team, and they also went and picked up a trophy at the end of the season as well. So we have had a sensational season at Stretford Paddock. Next season there'll be more teams, there will be women's teams, and like I said, it is a true footballing democracy. And if you care about that, if you don't care about that, then I don't want you at the club. But if you do care about that and you want to have an actual genuine say, because that women's team decision went out to our members, there are financial restrictions, there are financial issues in terms of putting forward a women's team. And I think that was why, approximately 13% of the people that voted no. But it's been passed through. We have appointed our first women's first team coach. She's called Meg. She works for Manchester United. And we are moving forward. So my goal is to get Stretford Paddock into the FA Cup. We need a couple more promotions for the first team for us to do that. But I really want to be the driving force in terms of genuine grassroots development. Selfishly, I want to make the next Kobe Mainu, and I want him to be a Paddock player that comes through. If you're interested in that, we can do that in the men's game, and we can start to do that in the women's game as well. If you're interested in that, check the link in the description and come and get involved in a football club that actually gives a shit about what fans think and what they want to see at their football club. And do you know what? We're pretty damn good as well. We have had a right haul of trophies this season. So come and get involved. Let me know your thoughts about this with Cunha, which I think is sensational news. Congrats to our under-12s yesterday. And I'll see you lot in the next one. Stay tuned for the Martinez video coming very soon. Laters.